shift underground. I got something on my mind. So there's a massive shortage of mechanics, and I seen the writing on the wall years ago, and nothing's been done about it. So give you some perspective. When I went to trade school, there was 34 students, and out of that whole class, I'm one of 2 people that are still in the trade. And talking to the other professors, and when I was teaching too, a lot of my students, you can say I was a bad teacher or whatever you want.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Parts Talk. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate each and every single one of you. In my last video, I spoke about the mechanic crisis taking place right about now. And this has been going on over the last 3 to 4 years, has been accelerating at such a fast pace. As a matter of fact, one of my first videos over 2 years ago was about the mechanics going their own way. I even have long form interviews of mechanics and other colleagues of mine who speak on their journey working in the automotive sector, particularly at the dealership level and at the shops. I wanted to showcase this as we all know there's little or no respect for people working in the automotive sector, especially mechanics. I had wished for more mechanics to come on screen and tell their stories. Even mainstream media now is carrying the plight of mechanics in short supply. In this video, I will feature a mechanic called Lance, and his channel is Lance Mechanics. All credit goes to the original content creator. Lance doesn't hold any punches in this video, so please show him some love, visit his channel. And Lance, remember, this is fair use, so hit me up if you have any problems before doing that copyright claim. I will leave the link to his channel in the description box below. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe to view more content. And if you really have to go before finishing this particular video, please give me that thumbs up button. The algorithm will really appreciate it. Now let's get straight to Lance and what he has to say.
Shift underground. I got something on my mind. So there's a massive shortage of mechanics, and I seen the writing on the wall years ago, and nothing's been done about it. So give you some perspective. When I went to trade school, there was 34 students, and out of that whole class, I'm one of 2 people that are still in the trade. And talking to the other professors, and when I was teaching too, a lot of my students, you can say I was a bad teacher or whatever you want. Out of like 100 students, again, there's only 2 that are still in the trade. And even then, that's iffy. And we got one of the highest attrition rates of any trades. And there's a lot of reasons why. Being a mechanic or making a mechanic is, it's a marathon. It isn't a sprint. And to be honest, a lot of people are used to instant gratification. And it takes years to become a good mechanic, and it takes years to build the set of hand skills and diagnostic tools that you need. And a lot of employers aren't willing to wait for that. And a big part of that reflects in the wages. So let's say you want to become an apprentice electrician, which I think is the easiest job out there. You're going to hate me in the comments. They'll pair him up with a guy in a truck. Whatever the company finances the truck, they'll pay that apprentice $24 an hour, and they can fit all their tools into a bag. And there's no cost. They park the truck outside, and that's it. It's very, very inexpensive to have an apprentice electrician. And if he sucks in the beginning, they're willing to spend the time and effort to make him a better technician. Whereas in automotive, you'll be lucky if you start out at $14, $16, $17, $18 an hour. You got to invest in your tools. The shop has to have a hoist. They have to have room. They have to have coverage if you mess something up, and you will mess something up. And there's a lot more cons to having an apprentice mechanic than there is, let's say, an apprentice electrician. It's just way more expensive, and the money's just...
Let me stop him right there. Remember, it's fair use. So also remember, the technology keeps changing. So does your tools and how to repair new models. Engineer and car makers, they don't really give a shit. Back then, kids would walk in off the street begging for the opportunity to build and grow at a shop. And it was much harder to get into dealerships because they had so many young men graduating from automotive schools. Now we see kids already having have jobs lined up for them 2 years within the programs right now in the automotive schools because of how desperate dealerships and shops have become. I had one video with a Toyota dealership going directly into the high schools to recruit potential apprentices while offering scholarships. I did that video over a year ago. I had one video with a Toyota dealership going directly into an high school within their region, their area, to recruit potential apprentices while offering scholarships. And I did that video over 2 years ago compared to what is going on now. I'm gonna let him cook some more.
Just not there to pay them. Or the shops and the dealerships are not willing to pay the apprentice. So early on, the apprentices get very, very discouraged. They're constantly spending at least 30% of their paycheck, or like all their gross income, and they're low wages. They're dealing with lots of stress. They're dealing with bullshit industry, angry customers, and at the end of the day, they're like, "Why would I be a technician when I can be something easier?" Electrician. I keep saying mechanic, electrician. But it's a good example. Like, it is very easy to become an electrician. And it's a high-paying job. And being a mechanic is a very unthoughtful. No one respects you, unfortunately. They want everything now. They want their car fixed, and if you can't fix it, they're in your face giving you a hard time. Electrician, keep saying it. Oh, I'll run that wire. It's $1,500. Take it or leave it. That's just the way it is. And
it's really, really sad. And you'll make far more money working in another industry similar to what you're doing while using the very same skill set. I always lobby for mechanics to go into aviation. Elevator mechanic is also another lucrative one. Escalator technicians or even repairing gym equipment is far more lucrative than staying in the automotive mechanic sector right now. So let him continue.
People accept it. But when it comes to a vehicle, it's a whole different story. But yeah, so it's a tough one. It's a very tough one. So years ago, I was dealing with local businesses because I was on the board with the colleges here. And the first thing I said is, you need to bring apprentices' wages up, at least $24 an hour to start off. And they all simultaneously agreed, but they won't do it. They just won't do it. It's too hard for them. It's a big investment, and unfortunately, like, let's say a private garage wants to invest in a kid, they'll spend 4 to 10 years like working with him or putting energy into him, and the chances are he's going to leave. A lot of mechanics jump from shop to shop to shop. Same with dealerships. You end up at a dealership, a lot of the time they'll hire a lube bay kid or the wash bay kid, and they'll put effort into him because they know who he is. But to hire an apprentice right off the street, even for them, is very, very tough. Ford, for example, in Ontario, you could be a licensed mechanic, and Ford doesn't consider you anything until you go through their training. And I remember one dealership principal, he was on this board with us. He basically said, yeah, your red seal means nothing to us until you get the Ford training, and that costs us $5,000, and it's very expensive. And I just remember thinking to myself, you guys are so goddamn cheap. Like, just for perspective, when I was flat rate my last year as a flat rate technician, I made over $150,000 in labor. Now, if you were to put that on paper, the dealership made over $500,000 in labor, not even including the parts from the sales or the jobs I quoted.
It's really tough out there. I can imagine, and it's one of the reasons why I even left the dealership environment. The nepotism is wild. But Toyota has their passport certification as well, similar to what Ford is doing. And it's a very similar training. They would go to their regional training center to get advanced certification into the current technology that they're using. And this is if the dealer is willing to invest in their career development. And they will have a skills contest for that particular region, and that winner will get a chance to visit Japan and enter into the World Mechanic Skills Contest. Not sure if it's still going on, it has been a while, but that was a big event back in the day, and it was joyful to see your name, the dealership, and the country that you represent engraved on the wall of fame there back in Toyota City, Toyota's head office in Nagoya, Japan. But like I said, I'm not sure if it's still going on, but that was one of the big things back in my days working in the Toyota dealership environment. Ford also has an excellent training program. The One Ford Leadership Program was also another good one, and you will get the various certifications going through. Today's environment, I'm not so sure. Today's dealer principals, not necessarily the dealer principals, but the general managers coming in, they're more sales centric. They don't understand the background knowledge in terms of parts and service and after sales and operational management. It's a whole new ball game. Let me let him finish.
They're making money hands over fist, and they're paying the technicians, doesn't seem like even 20% of what the door rate is right now. And unfortunately, it has to go up. If you want to get more mechanics in this trade, labors for apprentices have to go up, and labors for flat rate and regular rate technicians have to go up. Seems the only people winning right now are the one guy in the private garage. He has his loyal customer base. He's probably a really chill guy. Those guys are doing very well. Like I said, I made a lot of money as a flat rate technician, but I made the company way more money. And they were always on my ass. Like, you're going to have this done, or if I got really quick, they just booked me in more hours in the day. And another thing I noticed, especially with dealerships, let's say all the guys are starting to get 10 to 12 hours. You know what they're going to do? They're going to put another hoist in there, and they're going to hire another mechanic, and everybody's daily total is going to drop a few hours. And that's unfortunate. They do not let mechanics get ahead. You can have one less mechanic in a flat rate garage and everybody's hours will be really high. Everybody will be really happy. But at the end of the day, the dealership doesn't see it like that. They're going to put another technician in there to bring all the labor average down, because that's not the way they think. Like us, hey, we want more hours in a day. It makes more sense. One less guy. We don't need another guy. It's not the way dealerships work. And I see that everywhere. I've seen that at a few dealerships, and I've heard guys talking about it in town, and that's just the way it is.
Okay, his video cuts off at the 6:23 mark, but let me play devil's advocate a bit. Two ways dealerships actually make money is they either increase sales or they cut expenses. So here they are doing both. They will put another hoist in because they want to maximize the CPUS, which is the customer paid unit sales, and throughput capacity while maximizing the amount of hours they sell. And they will look at expenses as a percentage of turnover, net profit before tax as a percentage of turnover. So by hiring another mechanic, we'll sell more hours. Unfortunately, work for the existing mechanics will be cut, as he mentioned. And during the downtimes, because in Ontario, there is the off season, especially during the summer, shortly just before the fall, before tire season. Tire season is another big situation here, a very big market here in Ontario because of the winter. Plus all that cheap warranty work that the manufacturer keeps pushing. But he's right, the industry is screwed based on what is going on. And unless more and more mechanics like him come out and speak, things won't change. The dealer principals are the only ones who can actually make the change happen. They run the dealership associations and the various automotive cliques and cartels that they have going on. And that's what they are. The bad ones make the good ones suffer. They are good shops and good dealerships out there, but now, sadly, staff moving around from business to business all but shows the total disorganization of the automotive sector overall. Plus the nepotism running wild, plus now we have DEI. I won't even go into the manufacturer. They got suckered into the EV mandate by inexperienced politicians and now causing workers to be laid off in droves. Stellantis, GM, Tesla, to name a few. Again, the real issue still lies. If Gen Z and Gen Alpha, the younger generation, aren't motivated in learning these skills or picking up the torch, we're in deep trouble. They're the ones who will inherit the reins of society. And if they're unprepared, everything we've built and tried to build will fall apart. And the blame for that doesn't just lie with them. It lies with us as the older generation. We've allowed this drift. Engineers build, mechanics maintain what we take for granted. As usual, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. Please smash that like button on your way out. It will only take you 1.5 seconds to do so. Until next time.